guys, it's Marie Antoinette with Posh Paper Perfection, and welcome to my channel. Hey everybody! Alright, I'm really excited to be talking about my Happy Harvest Haunting card and walk you through how I created this. I sped this up because it did take a long time for me to make this card. There's a lot of small little pieces, just so you know. Anytime I do a card that has very small pieces, I usually do my embellishments on one day, and then on the next day I assemble it and put it together. It just makes for a very long evening if you do it all together. And I think you'll understand what I'm talking about. Even Nicole, in her video, she mentioned how small the parts are, but if you love detail, you're going to absolutely love it. So I created this card first vertically, but then I found that if I had it horizontally, I could get more room and I could actually add my Scarecrow and it wouldn't feel so cluttered. Now, just in case I forget to tell you what I used to create this card, make sure you check the description in this video, because I share all of the things that I used and the affiliate links. They are affiliate links, so I thank you in advance for choosing to click on my affiliate links and purchasing. By you purchasing, you really help my channel grow. I add a lot of special things to my videos, such as music and video intros that I actually have to pay for, and most of my projects I end up paying for those as well. So I appreciate it. I just get by even, so I'm not really making any money. But anyway, thank you. I just want to say thank you because I realize that I don't say that enough in my videos. So the papers that I used were the Eerie Night paper kit, white cardstock from Hamilco, and the Autumn multi-pack assortment season collection. This die collection that I'm using for this card is from the Happy Harvest collection by Nicole Spohr, and the two die sets that I was gifted from Spellbinders is called Scarecrow etch dies, the Wagon full of fall etch dies. Love them. Lots and lots of details. The stamp that I used was from Stampendous, and it's called Fabulous, like fab-boo-boo. I'm sure you get it, but I thought it was really cool, and that's actually in my haul video. If you haven't seen that, make sure you click on the link. Okay, let's talk about this wagon. Before I go on, the wagon, as you see, it has a wooden pattern. That was created with the same paper that I created my wooden birdhouse. And I'm going to go ahead and put the link to that up here on the right hand side. That was made with white paper, a jelly press, a brayer, and 3 different colors of acrylic paint. For my Scarecrow, I went ahead and cut 2 die cuts and layered them together with Barely Arts glue. I really wanted to achieve a Scarecrow that looked scared and ghostly, like he was surprised. This was a little tricky because Nicole designed a slit that embosses into the Scarecrow. So when I put a small little round die cut on there and then painted white for the mouth to be like open, the slits still show, and he ended up looking like Mr. Bill. If you guys know who Mr. Bill is, comment below and say, yes, I know exactly who Mr. Bill is and what he says. What does Mr. Bill say? Okay, I want to see those comments in this video because that would just make my day and crack me up. So many times I was just looking at this video and going, oh no! Okay, the little circle came from the wagon wheel. Far away, it looks like he's surprised. Up close, I just wish that she didn't have the slit because I wanted to make him surprised and almost like frightened. You know, when people say they got frightened, they turn white as a ghost. Well, I wanted him to be white, and I also wanted him to look ghostly. So I decided that I was not going to use the traditional Scarecrow colors, which are bright and cheery with oranges and reds and greens. Instead, I would make it look like as if he had been worn and just completely terrified. Okay, so now I'm going to walk you through how I made his clothes because I did not have paper that was in that pattern. So I had to create that. And how I did that was with white cardstock paper, an ink blender, and Ranger's Distressed ink. For the Scarecrow's clothes, I used aged mahogany, vintage photo, walnut stain, and wild honey. For his hair, I used weather wood and black soot. Now let's talk about putting the clothing on the Scarecrow. It seems like that would have been an easy thing to do, but for me, it was a little bit difficult, and that was because I did not watch all of Nicole's video. I kind of skipped ahead. When you're working with so many projects and you have to produce so many videos, it's very hard to find time to watch videos. Plus, I have a full-time job. So I want to be sure to share this with you so you don't get frustrated, because there was a couple of times where I thought I was going to have to redo my entire Scarecrow. One, when you're putting on the Scarecrow's clothes, remember that the shirt goes over the pants, and then you have the hay. The hay needs to be behind the shirt and behind the pant legs. So I recommend to use staging. Take your Scarecrow and the hay, figure out where the hay is going to be, how you're going to have that overlay the hat on top, how the hay is going to look for the arms, how the hay is going to look for the legs and the pants. You'll want to do all that pre-staging because once that glue is applied to the paper and it comes in contact with another piece of paper, it may not be able to be removed. So just remember that. And if you do forget, don't worry, okay? Use your tweezers to lift up the top layer of that paper. If you do that, and very carefully, not to puncture it, you can slide it in there. If you can't slide it in there, even though you've done that, try trimming the hay and then sliding in there. I used that for the pants legs and it worked out beautifully. Nobody would even notice that I had a boo-boo. For the corn, I wanted it to be black and dead. I also wanted my pumpkins to be in black and white, so I used black and white cardstock. Now let's talk about the corn. I used the same inking method as when I created his clothes for the corn and for the husk. For the husk, I used mowed lawn and black soot. For the corn, I wanted more of the aged mahogany on top of those colors that I used for the Scarecrow's clothes. I went ahead and put my die pieces on there and cut it out. And then this is what makes them look so real. I used my twee markers to color the corn. Don't worry if you don't think you're a great artist, because I am not one, and I just put dots. Blood orange, red, black. Yellow didn't show up on the paper, so just ignore that twee marker. Here's another tip. If you do not have nose tweezers, get them. They make a huge difference when you are working with very tiny, intricate die pieces, especially when you have to pick them up and then glue them onto another tiny piece. And again, before I even adhere anything onto my card, I do a lot of staging. I cut out multiple corn stalks and cut them so they could look like they were actually fuller. I also toyed around with having two crows, but because they're facing the same direction, I didn't like that at all. So after I staged it, I removed everything, and then I adhered the card to the card base. You may notice that my card base has paint on it. I hate wasting paper, and if I mess up on a piece of paper and it is still smooth, I will use it as a base for any kind of designer paper to glue on top of it. And finally, the fun part, putting all of your created embellishments and details on your card mat and creating a scene. I love this part. It is so much fun. So I'm going to go ahead and stop talking. I'm going to fast forward this a little bit and let you watch me figure out how I'm staging everything and putting things together. If you have any questions, comment below. Now, if I thought about it and I staged it right, I would have put the sentiment directly on the background, but I didn't, so I had to put it on a black piece of cardstock and then put it in the area that I wanted to. I heat embossed the stamped image with white embossing powder by Wow. To finish this card, I used double-sided foam adhesive and glue to create extra dimension, and then I remembered that I didn't have any patches on my Scarecrow, so I went ahead and added that as well. And the final step is adding your project to your card. I use Brilliant Arts glue because it gives me enough wiggle room to be able to move around that frame so it is perfectly aligned. If you love this video and you want to see more, or if you have any questions, please comment below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and share it with another craft buddy. I'm going to have even more Spellbinders new releases coming soon. Thanks so much for watching.